Thank you for joining us on Life is Dataful. I'm Michael Walsh, a writer in global content strategy at Publicis Sapient. On this show, we're examining data and dataful experiences through the lens of digital business transformation. Later in the show, our Chief Experience Officer, John Maida, will share this week's dataful experience. Let's take a closer look at the role of a circular economy in sustainability. The environment and sustainability are hot topics right now. According to new polling results from the Pew Research Center, a majority of Americans see the effect of climate change in their own communities and would support government initiatives to reduce these impacts. For instance, 84% of respondents said they would support carbon capture tax credits, and 90% would support planting about 1 trillion trees to absorb carbon emissions. It's worth noting that the survey results show bipartisan support for many policies. Comparably large percentages of Democrats and Republicans favored many of these proposals. Many businesses have publicly committed to change. Fashion brand H&M, for instance, has pledged to use 100% recycled or sustainable materials and to make the first 2 tiers of its supply chain climate neutral by 2030. They pledge to become 100% climate positive by 2040. Now, those dates are still far off, but this points to a significant shift in the fashion industry. Unilever sells fast-moving consumer goods, and their mission statement is to make sustainable living commonplace, and their branding repeatedly drives home their belief that sustainable business models drive superior performances. They're pioneering technologies and business models that would allow for the use of less plastic, better plastic, and in some cases, no plastic at all. This is a serious problem because from 1950 until 2015, the world's annual plastic production increased from 2 million tons per year to 381 million tons. That's a nearly 200-fold increase. According to Plastic Oceans International, 50% of that plastic is for single-use purposes, and more than 80 million tons of the discarded plastic is dumped in our oceans each year. This plastic debris kills marine life, threatens food safety, harms human health, affects coastal tourism, and contributes to climate change. The cumulative amount of plastic production in that same period was 7.8 billion tons. That's more than a ton of plastic for every human currently alive on this planet. Just like Unilever is committed to transitioning to a circular economy, now that's in which we make, use, and dispose of things differently. You can contrast that with a linear economy. A circular economy uses as few resources as possible. It opts for sustainable resources whenever available, reuses the products to get maximum benefit, and then turns them into something else at the end of their life cycles. Now, more than 90% of all plastic is not currently being recycled. According to the Ellen MacArthur Foundation Sustainability Report, 96% of waste from plastic bottle packaging comes at the end of its life cycle, unsurprisingly. In a circular economy, much of that waste could be returned to the raw material producer or packaging manufacturer to help create something else, greatly reducing the amount incinerated, discarded in landfills, or dumped in oceans. Supporters of a circular economy in business and in government say that separating economic growth from new resources would lead to a cascade of macroeconomic benefits, increased revenues, innovation, job creation, and lower production costs. The Ellen MacArthur Foundation estimates that fast-moving consumer goods companies could potentially save $700 billion globally in material costs. Now, I'd like to turn over to John Maida for this week's Dataful experience.
Thank you, Michael. Circular economy means a lot to me because I think it was like early 2010s. I was at a fancy Davos meeting and met Ellen MacArthur, and her whole concept of circular economy was just beginning to kind of like take hold, and I've been lucky to be on the edges of that community, and wow, what a simple idea, what a powerful idea, what an important idea, given how the world's kind of aware that it's a world, hashtag COVID-19. So what does it have to do with experiences? Well, it has to do with the fact that it used to be you would not know anything about a company. Maybe you'd catch an ad and that's all you'd know about it. But now, as you know, we can like search and like learn all about the company and the leadership. And so we kind of want to know like also what the company does, how it makes the stuff. And so it's a whole new world where the company cannot hide behind its advertising front end, and its entire business back end has to produce the right kind of product with the right kind of ethics, the right kind of sustainability. You got it. Now, what does that have to do with Publicis Sapient? Well, in Publicis Sapient, we're thinking a lot about this E, ethics, in the context of LEAD, L-E-A-D, light, ethical, accessible, dataful. And so when you think about sustainability, consider ethics, super important because your consumer knows a lot about you in the same way that you know a lot about them. Back to you.
Thank you, John. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to think about the ways data is affecting our lives. Tune in next week for the next episode of Life is Dataful.